After a long flight from Europe, we decided to spend our first day in Africa just getting used to the heat and sun that we expected on the mountain. Heather and Sam headed into Arusha. The rest of us decided to take a walking tour on the edge of town. But first, Adrian had to calibrate his sat-nav.
It's wrong. It's a bit high. Oh, there we go. That's better. 455. Oh, I can find it now. 4568 feet. Happy with that now. And we're 3 degrees south of the equator, John.
Once Adrian was happy that he knew where he was, we set off on the short drive to the start point, and Steve practiced vital bits of Swahili.
What's stop? My legs are hurting.
He never found out the answer to that question, but that moment did mark the start of his quest to learn the language. After about 10 to 15 minutes, the luxury transport arrived in the suburbs of Arusha, and although the terrain didn't look too strenuous at that point, we were expecting an epic hike that would prepare us for some long, hard days in the mountain. But it wasn't to be. Training for the mountain should have been done before arriving in Africa. The plan for day one was to get to know Tanzania.
You see also the fruits like papaya. We have the papaya, that tree is the papaya, and the bananas, and also avocado.
You can find the local tribe, the Maasai tribe. But here around you can see
Warusha.
Like,
They call it Warusha, but you speak in the same language like Maasai. Yeah. This is the coffee beans.
it's the same as the one we'll be drinking on mountain. On the northern part of Tanzania we grow Arabica, as the guy is saying, and on the western part of Tanzania we grow Robusta.
Robusta.
The Robusta is quite thin and it's long than this one. Yeah.
Traditions die hard for some people, particularly for a proud warrior race, so despite living close to the city, many still live in traditional round huts. However, the proud heritage doesn't prevent them from showing off their heritage and accepting dollars from interested tourists.
And the sleeping. And cooking.
There's actually no ventilation.
No.
No ventilation at all. So probably just a little ventilation up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere like here, just to bring out the smoke from the cooking in the kitchen.
In fact, interested tourists seemed to attract attention at almost every point along the journey. Children just loved having their photographs taken.
Where would the nearest dentist and doctor be?
Despite the idyllic scenery, this part of the world knows sadness and struggle. A tin-roofed hut next to the path was school for about 40 orphans, most parentless due to AIDS.
What are you doing today? What study? What work?
The guides had only planned to stop for a moment, but the enthusiasm of the teachers and the children was enchanting. The extended school visit meant that the walk had to be shortened slightly, but it still managed to take in a small hill that gave great views and photo opportunities of Arusha. Sadly, there were also views of Bill's torso.
I was in the other one, and you can stitch the two together.
Yeah, silver one at the front.
All right, okay.
Pole, pole. Pole, pole, slowly, slowly.
Then it was back to the starting point for lunch. Not well deserved, but very enjoyable considering that the next day would bring the harsh conditions of the mountain.
So yeah, just for
The bigger table.
Friday started early, but not particularly strenuously for us Challenge 50ers. While we watched, the guys from Team Kilimanjaro loaded kit and provisions for a week's expedition into and onto the wagons. A few hours later, the intrepid explorers and Bill arrived at the Landrossi Gate to Kilimanjaro National Park. Here, the visitors had to register ourselves and pay an entrance fee for the park, while the porters and guides unloaded the trucks and weighed the bags and boxes in order to reassure the authorities that the porters wouldn't be overloaded before reloading the vehicles. We contemplated the important things in life. So any thoughts as you stand at the gate then, Heather?
I think I've drunk enough water for the time.
thoughts. Yeah, it's still a lot greener than I expected to be at this level. I guess it will start thinning out and a bit more like a mountain later on.
Once the formalities were complete, we set off again towards the Lemosho Glade, 2,100 metres above sea level, where the person power would take over and the climb would commence. With thousands of people climbing the mountain each year, every gate has hundreds of vehicle movements to contend with. And the tracks suffer, but the experience of the drivers always won through. The walking was about to commence, but only after another pleasant and very genteel lunch.
And we didn't get to fit in anyway. It's because they arrest you if you put spy.
While the ever-working porters set to on the unenviable task of sorting out the loads and then carrying them up Kilimanjaro. Fully rested after a long and arduous drive, we eventually got ourselves in some sort of order and started the first leg on foot. Lemosho Glade to Big Tree Camp, officially known as Mutti Makubwa, but that's much more difficult to say.
Viva 50 Years Challenge!
By the time we had walked pole pole, that's slowly slowly, to Big Tree Camp, 2,650 metres above sea level, the quickly porters had already pitched the tents.
Right, Kelvin,
You've reached the first camp, how are you?
I'm feeling fine really, so all systems go at the moment.
How was the first walk?
First walk,
Son,
yes.
you're halfway.
Oh, looking forward to my cup of tea.
Yeah, nice cup. 1, 2, and a biscuit.
And a biscuit, yeah. Popcorn.
We were a little surprised to see that Team Killy had even erected a mess tent for us. We were more surprised to see that they'd brought the table and chairs. This is slumming it.
Yeah.
What is your first thoughts of the first day?
Oh, a piece of cake. It's all going to be like that, John.
And got top of your kit, we had some at dinner time.
Tea time.
Go on, move on.
Popcorn.
Actually, it's very interesting. I like the peace and quiet. And seeing the monkey.
The evening meal was soon served, the night dropped in, and there was nothing to do. So by 8:30, everybody went to bed. Second morning, how are you
All is
feeling?
well. Bon bon via.
Do you have a good night's kip?
Asante Sani. I've had my porridge for this morning.
He kept on leaping on me all during the night. Yeah, I had to fend him off, fight him off. And he couldn't find the he couldn't find the hole in the end of his it's too much. Too much info. I had to help him anyway.
Come on then.
John, go away.
The toilet roll packs in there as well, those waste.
The camp was quickly dismantled, and once again the porters did most of the work. We weren't even allowed to carry our bags from our tents to a central pile, so we had to find other things to do. What you been doing, Aid?
I've just been talking to myself, John. I do it all the time because nobody else tends to listen generally. But yeah, we've just been commenting on how we slept last night, or didn't, as the case may be. How good the breakfast was, and how everybody's spirits are still good. No aches and pains yet. Apart from that, not a lot. So I'll leave you to view the rest of the campsite and the preparations being made for walking today.
Before long, it was time to start walking towards our second campsite, Shearer 1.
And they left you standing? Or with them?
Amazing.
With them?
I was way behind, so I went at my own pace, and you can't do it.
Senecio John Stoney, with its phallic brush rising from it, more common on Meru and virtually not existent on Kilimanjaro except in this western forest and one place on the Ambwe route.
Just go down the valley and just climb a little hill. After lunch, it's 2.5 hours to the camp tonight. So very soon we'll be at lunch point.
Thank you. What new words have we learned, Steve?
We've learnt "was-he was,"
Which is
the porter's shout to get you out the way on the road. And when somebody says to you "habari gani," you say "bombambaya," which means "how are you?" Very well, it's great. And if you want to go, when you go to bed at night, you say "lala salama."
you sing that one as well, don't
Yeah,
you?
Bill can sing that one, can't you, Bill?
And when somebody wants to come into your tent, they have to say "body," and you say
If he's got a caribou.
"caribou." And if you're really upset with somebody, you might say "aku jinga." Who? Aku jinga.
Or if you're really upset, you say
Aku sengi.
So what word is Bill going to use when I point the camera at him?
Aku sengi. I hate that thing.
Lunch today, mouldy banana, stale bread, and there's only 3 bananas, 2 slices of bread. We have to share it between us. We are.
Hata Jenga.
Nice one.
In front of them is the camp. You can see something like a green thing. That's the park ranger station.
Alright, yeah.
Yes, you can see it from here.
Shearer 1 wouldn't get many stars with the Camping and Caravan Club. It's a place to put tents up on a plateau 3,480 metres up. The only thing which defines it as a campsite is the warden's cabin and some smaller huts that can be used as toilets. We had to make our own entertainment.
What's going on is we're about to batter.
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 You know, battered peanuts now.
Now we're going to batter Colin. No, Bill.
Go on, Steve.
Oh!
There's a king there.
King there. Oh. You're in the mire. I didn't see that. So the This is Fisher and Spassky.
We didn't cover many miles on Sunday, Shearer 1 and Shearer Hut being quite close. We ascended to 3,800 metres by lunchtime. The plan had been to do some acclimatisation in the afternoon by climbing up above the camp, then dropping back down to sleep. But the weather closed in.
Just walk around the camp. If it's going to rain, you get inside the tent.
Okay, tomorrow. We stand a chance.
That's tomorrow is the very good test day.
To test it.
Yeah, it's much easier.
So it's going to be hard tomorrow, yeah? Nice.
No. It won't be hard tomorrow. It's just
You're fine.
it's just like this. Just a gradual change of
Monday dawned clearer. There was even a hint that we might see the top of the mountain. The route was to include some acclimatisation, up to the lava tower at 4,642 metres, before dropping back down to the Barranco huts at a mere 3,985.
Obscured view of sky.
That's your hat in the way.
Ah, it's peak, is it? No, peak too soon.
I reckon so.
Warning, all data is presented for reference only. You assume total responsibility and risk associated with using this device. So you can tell it's American. Wait,
misy natangulia au niwasubiri na nyinyi? Mbona nini? Sina chochote. Haina haja.
How high do you think we are?
Sort yourself out with a chance. It's warming up. 13.5. Yes, 13.5.
So how long have we gone up since getting up this morning?
13.5.
In about an hour we've gone up.
That's 700 feet.
It's not very good, is it? The lunch stop brought a worsening of weather, and we understood why Team Killy erected the mess tent every time. It had been dry when we started eating. The afternoon's walk would not be pleasant.
It's ridiculous.
This is the lava tower. It was the most barren place we'd been to so far. We were glad that we weren't camping there. Unlike an American couple that we met, we were dropping down, hopefully to better weather. At over 15,000 feet above sea level, the height of the lava tower meant that one or two of us started to get headaches. But with every step down towards the camp, the air pressure increased and the heads began to recover. A good night's sleep brought better health, a clear sky and views of Mount Meru over to the west. The night's sleep also meant one of the hardest and longest days, starting with an ascent of the steep and rugged Breach Wall.
Get out of it!
So we have to go down, see the bullets. Wide, moving down. Wide. Yes? Yeah, so we drop from the deep valley. The deep valley is the last point.
Does it go across the top of those rocks there?
This one's? No, not the top of the rocks.
Plus it.
Once the breach wall had been conquered, we relaxed and took a fairly steady walk towards Barafu Camp via the Karanga Valley. We thought the hard work had been done for the day, not expecting Karanga Valley to be deep and steep. At 4,681 metres, Barafu is only about 700 metres higher than Barranco, so nor did we expect the final ascent into camp to be a struggle, but it was. However, our arrival was rewarded by a good view of the impressive Mount Mowenzi. Wednesday morning was the best yet, and was a good omen for the summit attempt that night. In order to reduce the chances of altitude sickness on the final leg, the morning was spent walking up the first part of the route before dropping back down for lunch and a rest.
Certainly, it's right like this about thin air. Everything you do, you need to take twice as many breaths as normal.
Tonight, we have descending and ascending train. The one on the left is the ascending one.
Yeah.
You can see it going up like snake.
Yes.
And the one coming down is on the other side. It's a tree coming down.
Yeah.
Side,
Down this way, is it?
yeah.
16,030 feet here.
Just before midnight, we, and a couple of hundred others, set off for the top. All that could be seen in front of us was a chain of head torches that went ever upwards, eventually merging with the stars. We plodded, pole, uneventfully into the early hours, and then our hopes of all reaching the crater were dashed. Heather succumbed to the altitude and had to be taken back down to the camp. The rest of us continued upwards. Just before dawn, the crater was reached. Sadly, our final walk round to the very summit couldn't be done as one. Our large party had split. Colin, Richard and Bill were a few minutes ahead of the main group. Due to the altitude and cold, they started to make their way down before we got there.
How do you feel?
It's going slow. I was getting hot, cold. Shit. What have you got moving?
You've done it though.
What's fun?
The rest of us continued our journey round to Uhuru Peak. Altitude was beginning to affect quite a few of the team. Perhaps we wouldn't all get there. Then, almost surprisingly quickly, we were at the roof of Africa. Excitement at having made it was tempered by the fact that Heather wasn't with us. But despite having already walked 2/3 of the way up and down once that day, as we arrived back in camp, she was setting off for another try. After a short rest at camp, the rest of us set off down to Millennium Camp, where we'd all spend the night. Millennium Camp was a place for celebration. They sold beer there, and being English, our party cleaned them out. All 5 bottles. Friday morning we celebrated again. After we'd bedded down for the night, Heather had arrived back in camp, having reached the crater at Stella Point. Challenge 50 had got 10 out of 10 for achievement, and Heather had got 20 out of 10 for effort. Typical girlie having to show off. route down to the Mweka Gate was long, hard work on the ankles and toes, and without the excitement of a summit to look forward to, it was quite boring. But soon after noon, we all arrived at the gate for a celebration lunch.
We all want to say thank you, a big thank you to Adrian and all the organisation, because he really went to town on getting all the details right. So here's to Adrian, thanks very much.
Cheers.
Well done.
Cheers. Can I have that fly?
Is he joining for beer tonight?
Yeah, do you want to have a beer with us later on?
This time?